So we put in a direct quote, but now I'm working towards an indirect, or paraphrasing. And I'm paraphrasing wrong. It is wrong and immoral to kill another living being for the simple pleasure of eating. So what we're saying is, our knowledge has increased immensely over those years. And that goes up here. We now know that animals think and feel, and we also know that we don't or do not need to eat them for optimum health. Optimum means top or the best health, yeah? Like optimistic. Optimum health. We now know that animals think and feel, and we also know that we do not need to eat them for optimum health. Besides this, that's talking about, besides this, how do I say this? It's wrong and immoral to kill it for the simple pleasure. So the simple pleasure of eating meat can be considered wrong and immoral. Adams, 2014, page 28. Now, do you know what a grey area is? A grey area? It's not black and white, it's a grey area. Is that a paraphrase, or is that my own words? So here I've said, so the simple pleasure of eating meat can be considered wrong and immoral. And what Adams actually says is, it is wrong and immoral to kill another living being for the simple pleasure of eating. Sort of changed the word order. The simple pleasure of eating was at the end, I've brought it to the front, and wrong and immoral is at the end, but here in the quote, it's similar, but it's a grey area. How much do you change it? How much can you change it before it's your words? I think that's right on the line. So the simple pleasure of eating meat can be considered wrong and immoral.
Or joy of eating meat can be considered unethical.
And that, I think, that's your own words.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. See, paraphrasing it's a grey area. look, if you know, here's a good test. You know, if I'm not sure if Adams is a real person, if this is actually a real journal. I think we just made it up for essays. But if he was a real person and he really did say this, and then I typed that into Google and then pressed search, and if Google maybe matches it up and finds that, then, you know, maybe it's but if it doesn't, you know. What's a famous quote?
Be or not to be.
Sorry?
Be or not to be, something like that.
Yeah, or something, just
I
something.
had a dream.
Or I had a dream.
I had a dream.
I have a dream. Martin Luther King, you know. No, it's a bit too short. We need something longer, like to change. What I'm trying to say is, you know, if you change the word order, you change from active to passive, you change the words.
This is a small step for mankind, but
Giant
leap for
man.
for man.
No, the other way around, yeah. Small step for man, but a giant leap for mankind. And if I said, that was what Neil Armstrong said when he went to the moon, we'll talk about that. How much do we change it? We'll come back to that. So there we go. So there you have one direct quote and a paraphrase or an indirect quote. You've changed the words, but you really, the majority, the major part of this sentence really came from Adams. You know, maybe, I don't know, at least 50 or 60%. And then we changed 40%, I don't know. It's a grey area. But paraphrasing, it's saying, thank you, Mr. Adams, for your quote, for your information. I'm not going to steal it. I'm going to tell the reader that you helped me. That's what you're saying. You're saying, thank you, Mr. Adams. And that's it. I mean, and then, you know, your next body paragraph can be on health, then the environment, then you can look at the other side of the issue, health again, society, which can be also humans are rulers. And that's your essay. All right, so we sort of looked at an introduction and a body paragraph. Any questions? Does that make sense? Now, quickly, I'll just quickly talk about 3 ways to paraphrase. Active to passive. Synonyms. Word forms. Word order. Let's do that. Let's do. It is one. Hold on. What was it? Has everyone heard of Neil Armstrong? Yeah. And this is what he said on the moon. I think that's about right. It is one. It is, or this is one. This is one. I think. This is one small step for man. Is that when he walks or gets off the spaceship? But one giant leap for mankind. This is easy. Man, instead of man, what can we say?
Society.
Humans. Say people. Society. So you got all these different words. We don't, of course, when we refer to man, often we refer to both men and women. All right, so you got that. Mankind. Same thing, isn't it? Oh, that's no. Humans, people. That's society. Mankind. Yeah, we're talking about like one person. This mankind, society. Mankind means sort of like the planet, people, everyone. You'd say the globe is another, as in global, globalization. Right, so you got all this, got all those. Small step. What's another word for? You say something else for small step?
For objectives.
Minor.
Yeah, small could be minor. Yep, good. There's one minor moment. Minor moment. There we go. Giant leap. You could say, you know, giant, huge, enormous. Leap. One minor moment. Leap. You know, leap is like, you know, a step forward. You know, when the internet was a big step forward,
Progress.
a big leap. You know, huge enormous progress. So we've got about 10 different ways we can change it. You know, this is one minor moment for people, but one enormous, but enormous progress for society. This is one minor moment for people, but I think we need an article. I know, but enormous progress for society, or for the globe, or for the planet, or for humans. That's synonyms. That changes it a lot. If I said, oh, you know, today's workshop on essay writing, it was a minor moment for people, but enormous progress for the planet, everyone would go, oh, what's right? Or they would also say, but that's not what Neil Armstrong said. So we've changed it enough. So that's one way, synonyms, and changing the words, word order, you know. Could we change that? Could we put this part after the comma? Could we put that part at the beginning, you know, like with a complex sentence? Can we do that? Does it work? No. Even though it was enormous progress for the planet,
It was just a small step.
it was just a minor moment. Excuse me. It was just a minor moment or a small step for man. So then we've changed, you know, the word order. This is one small step. Okay, word order. So we've put this section first, and then this section second. Change synonyms. Not synonyms. And then word order, and then passive active. Can we change that?
Yes.
Alright, so this is once, but giant leap for mankind. Okay, so how do we change that to passive? Man, or people, or humans. Humans have made one small step. Humans, a human, we're talking about really a man, a human has made one small step. Okay, is that right?
No, that's not the passive.
That's not the passive, is it?
One small step
Has
was
been.
Has been made.
Yes.
Has been made.
Or has been made.
Has been made one small step.
One small step has been made. Thank you very much. One small step has been made. One small step has been made by a person,
By human.
by a human, by a person, but mankind has made huge progress, right? You get the idea. I have to think about these things too. So there we go. There's three little tips for paraphrasing. What's the time? We'll just I'll just finish off with the conclusion. So you understand now. And if you want to stay and discuss, we can. All right. So then the conclusion. All right. So we got a summary and then comment or recommendation. Now, this is very interesting because you, the people in this room, or most of the people in this room who are my students, have learnt my way of doing an essay. So there's some differences that Carla, the teacher of the other DE class, I don't usually talk about definitions unless it's very it's something that most people don't understand, you know. Are computers good for society? You don't have to give a definition of a computer. Everyone knows what a computer is. Vegetarians, most people know what a vegetarian is. Oh, it depends, you know, who knows? Maybe some people don't. All right, summary. Now the summary is the thesis statement and preview outline, essentially. All right. But remember, we talk about we have to do it in at the start. The thesis statement says this essay will show.
Yes.
Now we have to use past tense.
Has shown.
Has
Shown. Okay.
Has shown.
Has shown.
What's the next part?
They should be. Everyone should be awake.
This essay has shown, what have we shown in the essay?
Animals feel.
Yeah, no, but what have we've shown that and that. Look, we've used advantages and disadvantages at the beginning. If you used it again, it's okay. But this is where you can also use synonyms. This essay has shown the positives and negatives of... Now, we've also, a person who eats vegetarian food is called a vegetarian. But vegetarianism is the act, or the noun, is the noun? Is that an adjective? You know.
No.
Now, the positives and negatives of vegetarianism. The first part, we called it the first part in the introduction. What can we say? The first, what's another word for part?
Past.
No, part. You know, part 1, part 2. What's another word for part?
Section.
Section. Sometimes you have to use the same word again.
Argument.
Well, let's say the first section
No.
looked at. First section looked at Now we said animal rights. First section looked at animal rights. What's another animal? What's another? We're talking about it's their feelings. Is it wrong to kill?
Unethical.
Animals like
Animal ethics. Thank you, Andy. Animal ethics.
Or that.
Very similar. Looked at animal ethics. Then benefits for the human body. So what did I say at the beginning? We looked at human health.
Yeah.
So you'd say benefits for the human body, and then impact on the planet. Impact on the planet, which is another way of talking about the environment. The second section then looked at the negatives, including, what's another word for impact?
Effect.
The effects. The second section then looked at the effects of, the negative effects of being a vegetarian on health. You only lack one vitamin, B12. You know you can take a pill for that. You can get a B12 pill. So people can be vegetarians. And especially I can be a vegetarian quite easily because I have an iron problem. I have too much iron.
Yes.
Iron Man, remember.
For cholesterol. Fat.
Vegetarians lack vitamins and minerals, and they don't live longer according to one study. The other thing is you're going to get lots of information.
According to one study.
Yeah, one study of 10,000, says they don't live longer. Another university probably did a study and then they do live longer. There's always, that's the problem with this world. We have a lot of information now where we can find arguments for and against, and it's hard to know the truth. All right, so that's how you do, and of course there's the other side, but I won't write that. But you understand the summary?
Yeah.
And then, what about a comment or recommendation?
Suggest.
Now I think the best way, Mohammed, you did this, which was sort of like saying somewhere in between vegetarian and non-vegetarian. So what about, let's have a comment or a recommendation. I say is, if we can reduce the amount of meat we eat, that will improve the health for most people, as well as help the climate or the environment. Because for example, in Australia or in the West, they have something called Meatless Monday. Meatless Monday. So every Monday, you're supposed to only eat vegetarian food. Now I understand that every meal I have has meat. I should eat less meat. I should have more vegetarian food. Except for cake, which doesn't have any meat. Sweets, chocolate, but every meal, like in the morning, bacon and egg roll across the road with a coffee. I have vegetables, and I make sure I have lots of vegetables for vitamins and minerals, but there's always some meat. A little bit of chicken, a little bit of pork, a little bit of beef, kangaroo, crocodile.
Crocodile.
Not often. We could say, the comment or recommendation, okay? Meat gives people certain vitamins and minerals that cannot be found anywhere else. but they can be manufactured in laboratories and taken,
Pills.
or in pills. What I'm trying to say is maybe you want to say something, your comment or recommendation might be some middle ground. It's like, don't stop eating meat, don't make everyone a vegetarian, but just reduce the amount of meat.
Yes.
Most people should only eat a little meat and mostly vegetables, especially in the West where people eat lots of meat. This will help human health and have a big impact on the environment. And then that's the end of the essay. So then you say your comment, recommendation. While meat eating will not stop soon, it can, or it could be reduced, helping human health and the planet at the same time. And there's your comment. You could talk about Meatless Monday, or you could talk about, you know, the majority of people in many countries, such as India, eat mainly vegetarian. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's your essay. So, Monday, you're going to have probably the same thing. You're probably going to have quotes for and against. Check the question. What does it say? Is it an argument? Are you supposed to argue one side? Or are you supposed to give both sides? Look at the quotes. The quotes will give you the body paragraphs, the topic sentences. That will give you the preview. You know roughly how to divide it. You know the structure. Check the task requirements. I'm sure it's the same. I'm sure it's 2 direct quotes and 1 paraphrase. How do you paraphrase? Change the words around. Change the words. Use synonyms. Active to passive. The grammar, vocabulary, but the grammar, look, it's difficult. But the most of the essays, you won't write essays in a 2-hour period like you do in class. You'll have weeks and weeks and weeks to fix your grammar. So, we'll go over it again. So the content, well, that can come from the quotes. It's going to be on a topic you do have some understanding about. It's going to be a general topic. Like there's vegetarianism, it's going to be about, you know, I don't know, have computers change the world, or something like that. It's going to be a very general topic that everyone understands. The content. So use the quotes to establish content. Then the structure. Well, I think you all know now. 3 parts to the essay, 3 parts to the introduction, 2 parts to a body paragraph, 2 parts to the conclusion. Exactly. Look over all the handouts you've been given in class. Look at all the emails I've sent you. You've got 5 days. 5 days of essay fun. In-text referencing. You now understand it, don't you? It's saying thank you to the people you got the information from.
Thank you.
So you've got direct. Direct is quotation marks, exact words, where you copy the quote exactly. Paraphrasing is when you change the words, but you still say thank you. It's like, you know, Yadab tells me a story and I change the words, I tell the story to someone else, that person likes my story, and I go, look, I know I told you the story, but the story came from Yadab. I know I changed a few words, but Yadab is the source or the author of the story. Thank you, Yadab. Grammar, all right, just be careful. Study your error code, subject, verb, articles, squiggly line with question mark, question mark. What do you have a problem with? Look, you can't change a lot in 5 days, but, you know, you can improve it a bit. People often get, you know, 10 more marks in the next essay. So you can still all pass. That's why we have the practice essay. So you can see your mistakes and then improve. And vocabulary. Most of you have good vocabulary. Sometimes you choose the wrong word, but 90% of the time you get the right word. Okay. Any questions? You want to go home? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And anyone who wants to stay and talk, still got half an hour. Say goodbye to the camera.
Bye. I saw you tomorrow. Bye. Bye-bye.
I'm going to make you guys YouTube stars.